That crazy Department of Fisheries and Oceans tweet reminding people to be good citizens and so they should starve to death when food washes up at their feet. Well, it wasn't an ill-timed tweet by an out-of-control intern. Today, I'll show you the documents to prove it. Last week, parts of Canada's east coast were absolutely hammered with one of the worst storms in the region's history. Hurricane Fiona roared through Nova Scotia and Prince Edward Island, leaving behind widespread damage, power outages, and people concerned about, well, food security and clean drinking water. The carnage was so bad on Canada's east coast that repair crews were coming up from the United States, from Maine actually, to help bring the utility grid back online. That is, until the ArriveCan app had other plans for everybody, delaying the rescue efforts because these crews of Americans had not yet uploaded their information into Justin Trudeau's vaccination spy app, ArriveCan. Anyway, the power's out, the roads are blocked with debris, help is delayed, and people are worried about food and water. But the Department of Fisheries and Oceans saw the natural disaster as the perfect time. They seized the moment to remind our maritime friends that even if food washes up at your feet, it's illegal to eat it. Look at this. As well, if you find lobsters washed up on the shore after the storm, remember it is illegal to harvest them. Simply leave them there. Let's think about this. So you don't have food in your house, or the food you have is spoiling, and the food's just in front of you on the beach. And that food can now spoil if you don't pick it up and eat it, but it's also illegal. And the government has taken this time to remind you in the middle of a storm. Thanks, big government. Now, that outlandish tweet drew backlash immediately, and the DFO ultimately issued an apology. But how did it all come to be? Well, I filed for access to information to get more details on the planning of that tweet. They are forthcoming, and I'll let you know when I get them. You can support our investigative efforts at a special website, rebelinvestigates.com. But what I can tell you today is that this tweet was definitely not an accident. I know that because I have an order paper response to an inquiry posed by Ontario Conservative MP Shelby Cramp Newman back in June. She wanted to know about social media staffing in these government agencies. And according to the ministry, there are 13 full-time staff working at the Department of Fisheries and Oceans on social media, including 2 managers, a team lead, and 3 advisors. So it wasn't some intern posting stupid things on their own in the height of the storm. It was a planned thing by a whole team. But it's a common theme from this Liberal government telling you it's your civic duty to die out of obligation to some dumb rule. Remember when Justin Trudeau said this?
A culture where the difference is guns can be used for hunting or for sport shooting in Canada, and there's lots of gun owners, and they're mostly law-respecting and law-abiding. But you can't use a gun for self-protection in Canada. That's not a right that you have in the Constitution or anywhere else. If you try and buy a gun and say it's for self-protection, no, you don't get that. You get it for hunting. You can get it for sport shooting. You can take it to the range, no problem, as long as you go through our rigorous background checks. But there's a difference around the culture. And one of the things that we're seeing with the debate in the States is you get more and more of the American-style, right to carry, self-defense arguments filtering up through the usual more right-wing communications channels.
Yeah.
It's your moral obligation to die, according to the Liberals. Die of starvation in a natural disaster. Die at the hands of some home invader. Just die to follow some dumb Liberal rule. Die to follow their leader. Do you think Justin Trudeau would go hungry in a natural disaster or tell his security to stand down because he thinks firearms are illegal for self-defense, which, by the way, they're not. Justin Trudeau's just an idiot. You can meet force with force to preserve your life, and it doesn't matter if Justin Trudeau doesn't like your choice of force. Anyway, not a chance to any of that. Just remember, your hungry belly and your dead family, oh, you're just doing your part for Canada, for the civilized society. Thanks, Liberals, but no thanks. For Rebel News, I'm Sheila Gunn-Reid. To support our independent investigations to hold all levels of government to account, please consider making a donation at our special website, rebelinvestigates.com. And thanks in advance to everybody who makes this important work possible.